Hey guys, Najana over here, and I wanted to do a quick video about corrupt cops that realize that they are done for. This video is made by Detective Williams, so let's go ahead and check this out.
Basis was there for you to ask for her ID?
I don't know.
In order to detain somebody, what do you have to have legally? Do you know?
I do not know the law legally.
Okay. Doesn't there have to be reasonable suspicion that the...
As a police officer, how do you not know the law? Like, you would have to know the law, right, in order to detain someone? If you're out there arresting people and you're not knowing the law, like, that could come back and bite you in the ass, right? And if these people don't realize that, and YouTube is watching, so who knows how many people are watching this? Thousands and hundreds of thousands, millions of people are going to be watching this, and then they find you on the street. Like, that's not going to look good for you. But that's not good. This is not a good start, y'all.
person committed a criminal offense or violated a law?
Because I don't know the law exactly.
You don't know when an officer is allowed to detain somebody?
This is Sergeant Jennifer Larson and Lieutenant Donald Milazzo, both police officers that had served for over 20 years, being deposed for the illegal apprehension and arrest of a woman named Samantha, aka Pink Camera Magic, on YouTube, who had been recording at the Cook County Courthouse building from outside.
Hey, ma'am, you know this is a public building?
Exactly, that's why I'm recording it.
It's also a court facility?
Yep.
Which there is a judicial law or judicial order that says that you cannot tape this building.
Can I see that order?
Yes, come on in. We're going to check your IDs too.
Oh, no, I'm not going in.
Oh, yeah, no. We're going to run you too.
No, that's all
We're going
right.
to get your name. We're going to do a report and everything. So come on in.
You guys shouldn't do anything. She's just standing there recording. You can record on public land. Everyone knows that. Well, for the most part, everyone. Obviously, a few people don't still, like the Karens out there and some of the police officers, and you know, I wish that there was a better way that we could communicate to everyone out in the world, like where you can and you cannot record. But obviously, if you're just outside standing in front of a building, you can record that building. It's a public land.
No, yeah, you're going to come in now.
Am I being detained?
Yes.
For what?
Because right now you are doing something suspicious.
That's not a reason to detain anybody.
Well, it is for dinner. Come on.
It's really not.
Let's go
so
inside,
I'm just going
man.
to stay here and continue recording.
Okay. You're going to come in and we're going to find out who you are and what you're doing here.
No, you're not.
Okay. All right, who's got cuffs? She does not want to go agreeably.
The interaction begins with Lieutenant Milazzo approaching Samantha and stating that she can't record in a public building, and that is enough reason for him to detain her as she didn't provide her ID. But what Milazzo doesn't know is that what he's doing is actually illegal, as it is completely legal to take photographs or film public places in all states unless oral conversations are recorded, which is not the case here.
Okay.
I'm being detained for just taking pictures of the building.
Yes, ma'am. You're doing something suspicious, and we need to know who you are and why you're doing it.
Alright, you guys, it's cops like this that give other cops bad names, right? A bad name. Like, if you're gonna go out and you're gonna be a jackass to the citizens who are just standing there and just recording, and obviously he doesn't know the law, like, how do you think that makes him look? Right? It makes him look like a jerk, a jackass, everything under the blue moon, right? And then you have other police officers that come in and join him, and then they look just as dumb as he does. Like, why is there no one right here that know that, yes, you can record? Like, these guys have been around enough people that have probably heard people say enough times, like, yeah, I can record here. It's public land. Like, really? That bothers me so much. Like, for real. Like, these cops give other cops bad names.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the First Amendment?
Yes. I am.
Really?
Let's go in. Come on.
Wow.
I tried to do this nicely. You are aware of Homeland Security, right?
After noticing multiple times that he was being recorded, Milazzo finally decided to aggressively grab Samantha's camera with which she was recording him, to later detain her and take her inside.
Lawyer.
Okay, call your lawyer.
That includes my camera as far as consent.
Well, it's already on.
Are you
So.
familiar with the Fourth Amendment?
Oh, great. Why do we always get the crazies?
I don't know.
That second person in the scene, the one wearing the body cam, is Sergeant Jennifer Larson, and what she and Lieutenant Milazzo don't seem to realize is that what they are doing is absolutely outside the boundaries of the law, and that Samantha knows that. Denying yet again showing her ID, Samantha notices that Lieutenant Milazzo is doing something shady with her camera.
Did you delete my footage?
Do you want to cooperate or not?
Remaining silent.
It is only making it worse. Do you want to give us an
Remaining
ID?
silent. Remaining silent. Don't consent to searches.
We're not going to search you. We're asking you for an ID.
If this wasn't enough, the officers then mockingly laugh at her after she invokes her right to remain silent.
What the f*** is going on today?
I don't know.
Every crazy loon in the building is coming.
Okay, these two jackasses are hassling the poor lady. That is not okay. Like, I really hope that Carmine comes back and bites them in the ass, because that is not okay. I do know, I've seen people, you know, stand out in front of buildings and making a scene and being like, oh, look, I'm recording on public land, right? Sorry, allergies again. But, and they're out and they're making a scene and they're like, I can record here. Like, I know that some people do like to stir up drama and trouble, and they do make it difficult for the officers. But this lady, it was just recording peacefully, right? Maybe she was working on something. Like, she doesn't have to tell the cops. Like I said, she did nothing wrong and whatsoever. And then, like I said, these two clowns over here are making it worse for her.
All we're asking is an ID.
We're asking for an ID.
We'll do a report. You can go on your way with your camera. Otherwise, I'm going to confiscate the camera, and we're going to take you downstairs
What
and
crime?
print you. Because you're suspicious.
I'm remaining silent.
Seeing no cooperation on her side, the officers then decide to give Samantha an ultimatum in an attempt to finally settle the situation.
Okay, this is your choice. You can either give us an ID so that we could do a report on this and find out who you are, or we're going to take you in front of the presiding judge. He's going to hold you in contempt, which means that he can hold you for as long as he wants.
I'm remaining silent.
Okay, let's do it.
Anywhere we go, people are amazed. I'm a quality control manager for construction. She goes out with me.
10 minutes went by, and then Lieutenant Milazzo finally came back with news, or better called threats, against Samantha, who, as everyone should do, just remained in silence.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to probably take her in front of the judge.
Okay.
He's going to hold her in contempt for, I think right now he's doing 90 days.
Okay.
So, is that okay with you?
Remaining silent.
Okay, but you realize you're going to go to Cook County Jail for 90 days.
For what?
Remaining silent.
Oh, this poor lady, you
Okay.
guys.
Now you have an option. All you have to do is show us an ID so that we can do a report, and we'll let you go on your way.
I have an option.
Yeah.
Okay, so did they even really go to the judge, or did they just go to the side room and be like, hey, let's wait a few minutes and let's figure out what we're going to say to each other, and then hopefully she'll give us an ID? Like, there are officers that do that. There are detectives that have done that. I've seen videos on YouTube where the officers are like, hey, let's just pretend like we're doing this, and detectives where they say they have stuff and they don't. I have a feeling that these guys did not really talk to a judge. But I could be surprised, you know. I am watching this for the first time on YouTube, so I don't know what's going to happen.
We told you that before.
Because right now you're just obstructing and you're in contempt.
Obstructing what?
You're obstructing us from doing our job.
I'm remaining silent.
All right, cuff her. Let's get her purse.
Ken.
Get her stuff.
I don't consent to searches.
Well, we don't care anymore. Okay?
Samantha was finally handcuffed and arrested for obstruction to later be freed without any charges. But what the officers are unaware of is that not only did they commit an illegal act, but multiple: unlawful detainment, intimidation, illegal arrest, dereliction of duty, unlawful search and destruction of private property. Shortly after, Samantha was able to hire one of the best lawyers in the country and sued Cook County for multiple civil rights violations. The case has been going going on for a few years now, and the conclusion is not yet known, but a part of all of this that we have is the following footage of both the deposition of Lieutenant Milazzo and Sergeant Jennifer Larson. What unfolded in the following never-before-seen footage is one of the biggest and most shocking proofs of ignorance of the law and ineptitude in police history.
Is it against the law to take pictures of a courthouse from outside?
No.
No, not that I know.
Okay. Is it lawful to arrest somebody for taking pictures outside of a courthouse?
No.
Of the courthouse?
No, not that I know.
Okay. Is there something
Keep your voice up, please.
Okay, sorry.
So I gotta get every word because it's on video.
Okay.
Are you familiar with this case at all?
Which case?
The case that brings us here today, that you're testifying in?
Yes.
Okay, and in a nutshell, what's the case about?
I would say that Amanda is, I guess I called you to say that she was
Video.
outside videoing when she shouldn't have been.
Why?
So she's saying we violated her amendment rights.
You're correct. When you say when she shouldn't have been, what does that mean? Was she doing something wrong?
Just something unusual, what us as officers would consider unusual.
Unusual, okay.
Having shown zero knowledge of the law, Samantha's lawyer then decides to push Sergeant Jennifer further to try to make her slip even more.
Depending on where you are in the country, Mormons are unusual, right? Depending on where you are, it might be unusual to see a Mormon. Do you get to detain Mormons in those places?
I don't know. People detain Mormons.
You don't have to speak.
I don't know if they detain Mormons.
Would it be lawful? Just because it's unusual?
No, I don't.
Okay. Is there something unlawful about recording outside of a building?
No.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Let me ask you this. Was Miss doing anything illegal
No.
when she was detained?
She knows the answer.
No, I would say it was not illegal, unusual.
Talking about unusual things, the statement that follows is something a police officer should never even be allowed to say.
In order to detain somebody, what do you have to have legally? Do you know?
I do not know the law legally.
And if you still think that at least Lieutenant Milazzo knew what he was doing, well, you're wrong.
What would you do if one of those people said to you, what's the difference between arrest and detain? What would your answer be?
We'd call legal.
Mr. Gorman, seated to your left?
No. Sheriff has their own legal.
Oh, okay. Their own legal who helps them understand things like the difference between arrest and detain?
Yes.
Gotcha. Was there a lawful basis to handcuff her?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that lawful basis?
Officer safety.
Here, Lieutenant Milazzo has just confirmed not to know the difference between an arrest and a detainment, an occasion in which, if they need help, he indicates they just go ahead and call the officer's lawyer to help them. The question remains then, how can someone work 27 years as a police officer and not know the law?
Did you have any...
You guys, that's scary. If these two officers, oops, sorry, honey. If these two officers don't know the law, how many other officers are there out there in the world that are running around, running amok, and being jackasses to people? How many more other people are there out there that don't know the law, right? And they're being impulsive, they're being crazy, they're arresting people left and right with power hungry, right? Because they have a badge and they can arrest people and they can detain people. But obviously these guys don't know the difference, right? I think that's just crazy. That's sad. It's so sad to see in today's society that somehow the police academy has failed these officers and who knows how many others. Like, what do they teach at police academy, right? Wouldn't they teach something like this? Something as simple as this. And if there's like since we've had cameras out, right, and we can record whatever we want, wouldn't they have like some sort of class to say, hey, it is okay if you are outside in public land if civilians are recording things, buildings, people. Like, it's okay for them to do that. But if it's a private property, then that's different. But if they're just outside minding their own business, not harming anyone, not making a scene, not running amok, then there should be fine, right? That is actually really scary. The fact that these two officers don't know the simple law, and they've been in the business for over 20 years. Like, that's scary.
Any reasonable suspicion that she was committing a crime?
We had reasonable suspicion to ask her what she was doing and why she was doing it, just to get who she was and why.
You and I agree on that you had the right to ask her whatever you wanted to ask her. Did you have the right to put her in handcuffs?
Officer safety.
For the security of the officers, yes.
Okay. What made her a threat?
Her refusing to give any information that was requested of her.
Was she legally obligated to give that information?
When an officer has asked her for security purposes to give her identity up, yes, we do have the right to ask for an identity of somebody for our safety.
20 years of service, and Sergeant Larson believes that she's not safe unless she runs your name. Not the kind of cop I would like to encounter if I'm being pulled over.
Have you ever heard of something called a Terry search or a Terry frisk?
I have.
Okay, what is that?
I'm not going to say exactly. I don't know the law.
Okay.
Seeing how she has no clue of anything related to law, Samantha's lawyer then decides to make up a hypothetical scenario to further prove his point on how wrong the arrest was.
Police officer goes over to somebody on the street. Let's call the person Mr. Plaintiff.
Okay.
Police officer goes to Mr. Plaintiff and says, hey, let me see your ID. And Mr. Plaintiff says, no. Is the officer now allowed to put Mr. Plaintiff in handcuffs and detain him?
I'm going to object. It's a hypothetical. It calls for speculation.
Yeah.
You can answer.
Okay. I do believe, yes, for officer safety, they do have the right.
Doesn't there have to be reasonable suspicion that the person committed a criminal offense or violated a law?
You guys, I want this lawyer. Like, if he seems like a badass lawyer, right? Like, he just keeps running circles over her, and she just sounds even more dumb. Like, ugh. Good job on the lawyer, though. Good pick.
Because I don't know the law exactly.
At least we saw so far how Jennifer takes responsibility and accepts that she doesn't know the law, in big contrast to her lieutenant, who instead pretends not to understand any of the questions the lawyer asks and makes fun of the situation.
If you could go back in time to the day that you arrested her, would you still arrest her?
So you're asking me if I can go back in time?
Yeah.
I don't know how I could do that.
Okay, did you understand my question?
I did, and you're asking me to suppose whether or not I can go back in time. I can't.
So you can't tell me if you would still arrest her?
I can't tell you what would happen on that day if I went back in time.
I'm going to say that he wants to arrest her again. I think that's what his answer is, and that's why he's acting like a jackass. He can't answer a simple question and be like, I can't travel back in time. Really? Just say yes, you would arrest her again. You already look like a fool anyway.
I know.
Okay. Is this an attempt to be funny?
Not a bit.
Are you trying to answer my questions?
I'm trying to answer your question.
You really can't figure this out because you can't wrap your head around time travel.
That's what you're saying? Object. Again, I mean, I'm going to object. It's getting to be harassing again. I mean, is this what the question is? Hypothetical time travel backwards?
No.
Is that really how you interpreted the question also?
Is that what you're asking? If he could go back in time, would he do it differently? Is that not what you're asking?
Yeah, that is what I asked him.
Going back to Sergeant Jennifer, the interrogation continues and her responses don't get any better as time goes on.
Is there any reasonable suspicion that she was committing a crime, yes or no?
No.
We weren't sure what she was doing.
Okay, so if you don't know what somebody's doing, do you have reasonable suspicion that they're doing anything in particular?
No, but we have a reasonable response to ask what she was doing.
Right. Agreed. You could ask her what she's doing. And when she refuses to answer, are you now allowed to detain her?
Yes.
Who told you this? That you get to detain people who are videoing and refuse to identify themselves when asked?
Here's one thing you need to do before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch this.
That is the face of someone getting caught, being held accountable, and humiliated for their illicit actions. Despite always refusing to admit that she had done wrong, everything was captured on camera and the answer is clear as water at this point. But this is not over, as in complete opposite to Sergeant Larson, Lieutenant Milazzo wasn't going to go down without a fight.
Are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment, by the way?
Vaguely.
What does it say in your own vague terms?
No illegal search and seizure.
Right. Unless there's
probable cause.
Or?
Okay. That's about all I know.
Okay, all right, good enough. He said that's about all I know. All right, now, there was somebody else who asked you the same question that I just asked you about your familiarity with the Fourth Amendment, who's in this room right now. Do you know who that person was? My client. Miss asked you that, didn't she?
I don't recall.
She asked you, are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment? You don't remember that?
No.
Lieutenant Milazzo admits not to recall neither the location in which this happened nor who actually asked him, when in reality, all of us know that it was Samantha and he's just playing dumb, and everything was recorded as we saw before.
I talked to a lawyer.
Okay, call your lawyer.
That includes my camera as far as consent.
Well, it's already on.
Are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment?
Oh, great. Why do we always get the crazies?
I don't know.
After recalling the incident, the lawyer brings up his offensive comment towards Samantha at the time.
If I tell you that your answer was, oh great, why do we always...
First of all, the way that Samantha handled herself at the courthouse, she did amazing. Good job, Samantha. You'll probably never hear this, but in case you ever see this, you did amazing. You kept your composure. You weren't freaking out, because sometimes people freak out, right? Because they get scared and their adrenaline is going and their heart is beating really fast, right? So sometimes people will react in different ways. But I think the way that she reacted was perfect. You know, she didn't make a scene, didn't cuss anyone out. She just kept saying, I want to remain silent, asking him obvious questions like, do you not know your Fourth Amendment? And she did really well. I think that she did really well. But Jackass over here, the way that he was like, why do we always get the crazies? That's not okay. You can't be talking to the civilians like that. Like, if a cop talks down to you, how does that make you feel, right? Like, that would make you feel mad. And, like, for me, I would feel mad and I would be like, wow, this, like, my trust with the officers would go way down. Like, that's not cool.
Always get the crazies. Would you dispute that?
No.
Does that sound like something you would say to somebody?
That's something I did say that day, yes.
So you remember saying that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember saying that in response to the question, are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment?
No, I just remember saying it.
Why is it that you felt she was one of the crazies?
Well, when people act in a way that is not in their best interest.
He was a crazy one.
How was she acting that was not in her best interest?
Well, at any time, all she had to do is identify herself. We could have done our report.
You have an option. All you have to do is show us an ID so that we can do a report, and we'll let you go on your way.
And everything could have gone the own.
And if somebody were to threaten you that unless you comply with their demands, they're going to put you in handcuffs, would you automatically necessarily comply with their demands?
Yes.
No object.
You would?
Calls for speculation.
He was able to answer. So you would. So even if there's somebody who is acting as a law enforcement officer, giving you an unlawful order, threatening you with detainment or arrest or 90 days jail, if you don't comply with their unlawful demands, you would still comply?
Yes.
Alrighty. Is that what you expected her to do, to comply?
Yes.
Having heard multiple times the need for a person to identify himself when requested by a police officer, the lawyer then decides to question Lieutenant Milazzo further in the topic.
Is there a law that requires people to identify themselves when requested by law enforcement?
I don't know.
About 15 minutes ago, my sister took my dog Gigi to an unknown location, but I'm going to show you using...
and when asked if he had deleted the files from his camera, he blatantly denies it, despite it all having been recorded by the body cam the sergeant had at the moment.
Did you delete her pictures?
No.
Who did?
Don't know.
You don't know who deleted her pictures?
No.
By the time you got in front of Judge Peter Felice, they were deleted, weren't they?
As far as I know, they were still on there.
You grabbed her camera away from her outside, did you not?
Yes.
From that point until you were in front of Judge Peter Felice, did she ever hold her camera again?
No.
Okay, so you had it the entire time?
Yes.
Didn't Judge Peter Felice talk to you about whether the pictures had been deleted?
He asked for the memory thing so he could delete them.
He asked for the memory thing so he could delete them. Not only did Milazzo prove the lawyer's point of the pictures being deleted, but he also had just involved a judge in the same illicit act he's been.
Why would a judge delete pictures? Wouldn't that make it even worse for everyone around, right? You know, I know that there's some corrupt judges out there, but hopefully this judge, I mean, obviously her stuff got thrown out, her charges, so that's a good thing. But the fact that he just included a judge, no, you can't be doing that. Come on, you're gonna piss off the judge. Good luck, man.
Being accused for.
You just said that he asked you for the memory card because he wanted to delete the pictures. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. And if he were to testify at some point in time that he absolutely, categorically did not delete those pictures, then would you want to change your answer as to whether you or one of your people did?
I'm going to object. Calls for speculation.
No one had custody of the camera but me.
Okay. Would it have been lawful for you to delete her pictures?
I don't know.
But what do you think? Are you allowed to go over to people's pictures and delete them?
No.
Without a court order?
No.
All right. That would be a violation of which amendment? Do you know?
No.
If up until now he had been able to resist when questioned about his unlawful actions against Samantha when she requested a lawyer after being arrested, was the last nail in the coffin for Lieutenant Milazzo.
What do you do if somebody says they want to talk to a lawyer and you have them in handcuffs?
We allow them to call a lawyer.
Do you keep asking them questions?
What a smug son of a bitch. Just look at his face, you guys. Just so smug. Ugh. Fucking hate people like this. They're so annoying, you guys. They're so rude, so arrogant, so cocky. This is the person, and the chick that's the reason why some of the cops get a badass name, right? Horrible name because of these dumbasses. Oh, I cannot stand his face.
Depends on the case.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Tell me the case in which you would continue to ask questions of somebody in custody after they ask for a lawyer.
If we're doing an investigation, we're going to ask.
I got you. Okay. Do you know which amendment it is that allows people to demand a lawyer? Do you have any idea?
No.
Have you ever read anybody the Miranda rights?
No.
You've never read anybody their Miranda rights?
No.
Have you ever arrested anybody?
No.
Other than Ms. Berquist?
No.
And you don't know the Miranda rights?
Not offhand, no.
Oh my god, you guys, this is so bad.
When you arrest somebody, do you have to advise them that they have the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Do you have to advise them that they have the right to an attorney?
Yes.
Do you have to advise them that if they cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to them?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what if somebody says, yes, I want to talk to an attorney? Do you get to keep asking them questions?
No. You shut up.
Or do you have to call a lawyer for them before you want to ask any more questions?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know if you're allowed to keep asking questions of somebody in custody after they ask for a lawyer?
No.
How long have you been employed at Cook County Sheriff's?
27 years.
27 years. I imagine you only became a lieutenant recently?
No.
How long ago did you become a lieutenant?
22 years ago.
You've been a lieutenant for 22 years and you don't know the Miranda rights?
You guys, that is so scary. Either he's BSing it or he really truly does not know. I'm really curious. Do you guys think he knows or do you think he's lying? Comment below. Let me know. because this shit's scary.
Yes.
The case remains open, but this is immaculate evidence proving how wrong the police officers were against Samantha. If you enjoyed this video, watch.
Okay, you guys, why is this case still going on? Like, let Samantha have her win. This was bad, right? It was bad for the officers. Hopefully the judge was not implicated, right? If so, that was bad. But just let her have her big W, because she deserves that. They acted like jackasses towards her, and she remained calm, and she was very consistent with how she was going about things. She was in the right. 100% she was in the right. And they were wrong. Easy as that, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But other than that, you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.